Alright, so we're starting on a brand new Grimdark project, unlike any of the likes that we've seen before. We're going to make a gaming table to match all my terrain. And so what we have here is about little less than half of the pink styrofoam Brian and I purchased at Home Depot. And what we're going to do is we're going to spackle it up to give it sort of a ground surface texture like we've done in many videos. And paint it up and make it look nice. And then we're going to make another one. Now, you might notice I'm wearing the choicest of ratty comic book t-shirts. I'm wearing my old swim shorts, which you can't see because they're off camera. These are my old swim shorts that become translucent when they become wet, so they were no longer appropriate to wear at work around children. Because this might get very messy because I'm going to have all kinds of spackle on my hands because I got to cover a huge amount of surface. Alright, so I got a brand new jar of spackle just for this occasion from True Value Hardware. $3.29, quite a deal. Anyway, we're probably going to use up a shitload of this stuff making these boards. And we're going to need something to lather it around with. So I got this, one of my leftover popsicle sticks. I also got a brand new pack of them. Here we go. Zoop. These things are fucking handy for making terrain and for mixing stuff around. Alright, so what we're doing here is we're scooping out some of the spackle here, and in the most delicate and careful and precise way we can manage, we're going to take some and smear it around like we're a 3-year-old at a fucking finger painting contest, and try and cover as much of it as we can with as thin a layer as possible. So we don't need much. We want the ground to be mostly, pretty much flat. There's some dimples in the foam where it's been bumped around in my room, or where some of my friends have been digging into it with their fingernails on a board. And as soon as we cover all of it, we're just going to try and rough it up so there aren't any fingerprints and things like that. And so, most of the streaks are going the same way. Alright, so we got this thing nice and spackled up, textured. Something I noticed when I was trying to smear it and swipe it, my fingers would sort of bounce off a little bit and we leave little fingerprints everywhere. So if you're ever doing something like this, be very careful and go through afterwards. It works especially well after it's drying, because it gets a little tougher, it gets a little more tack, so it's easier to smear it. And have it stay that way. Anyway, as you can see, I got fucking spackle over my hands. I'm going to have to go wash my hands. Alright, so what we're going to do now with our gaming table is the edges here have little bits of spackle, so we're just going to hit it once with the sandpaper. Make sure we get rid of all these loose bits. You don't need to sand it real good, just enough to get the little hanging off edges, because we don't want them to get painted on. We get them painted, because if they do, then when they chip, you'll be able to see the white, spackle and the pink foam. So, just a little quick once over to smooth out the edges. So what we got now is I went to the art supply store and bought some cheapo acrylic paints that were the closest matches I could get to the paint colors we're working with. The brown I found is a lot darker than snakebite leather, but I figured we could mix it with some stuff to lighten it up. So we're going to mix up some of that, and then we're going to paint it on. Alright, so we have a leftover paper plate. You can use something like this, or, something fancier like a real painting palette. So what we got to do is take out the little foam liner they put in here. And pop it open. Oh shit, it's not stirred up enough. Yeah, always make sure the paint is mixed up properly, otherwise the oil will separate from the pigment or whatever. I'm not a fancy paint person who goes to paint school. But it's like whenever you buy new peanut butter and at least if you buy Adam's peanut butter or something like that, and the oil separates from the peanut matter. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem though. Squirt out some of this stuff. Here we go. Got my big brush I bought at the hardware store. Mix these around. It's not quite the shade I need. Let's get some of this color in here. We got custard color, burnt umber, and fawn. Anyway, I'm going to try and get this color mixture right, and we'll be right back. Alright, so what we're going to want to do, now that we got our colors mixed up, is just give everything a light coat. Now that I think of it, I should put on my paint shirt, and so should you if you're doing this. Alright. Now I've got my worn and rugged, fashionable, belly button accessible t-shirt for painting this up. Zoop. So yeah, you just want to give everything a once over, and then we'll get to the more complicated stuff a little bit after that. Also, something else you can do is water down your paint a little bit so it can cover the area more, just like when we're painting our foam. Alright, I just finished painting over our table surface with this sort of chocolate milkish color. I'm going to let this dry, and we'll hit it up again with some more colors in a moment. Alright, so we're back. What we're going to do now is we're going to take our let's say fawn colored paint here, sort of a tan, very close to Commando khaki. Squirt some of this out in our paper plate. Got it in right there. Oops, balls. We're going to take our big brush that we've washed out and thoroughly dried out. You should make sure that it's really dry when you do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to dry brush just like when we do it on models and terrain, but you know, on a much more grandiose scale, you know. But it's the same thing, you know, you just want to get as much paint off the brush as you can. Anyway, got plenty of paper towels for this. And then just brush it across your gaming surface. And since we spackled it up, it'll bring everything out, make it look like sort of windswept stone or sand or something. You might find the need to get a little more paint for yourself and do the rest. Alright, now we can see the table in its completed glory. I got all my terrain out so it looks nice and pretty. Now granted, this is only one terrain board's worth, because this is only 3 feet by 4 feet, I think, or by something like that. Anyways, it's not too large. No, it's like 2 feet by 3 feet. Something like that. I can't remember the exact dimensions. So this is only one of these. I, didn't see the point in making the video of me making 2 of them, since if you wanted to see it again, you could just watch the video again. But anyway, that's how it works. One thing I would say is when you're working with foam like this with spackle on it, be very careful, because when it dents kind of easily. So, and when that happens, it shows the broken white plaster and the pink foam and kind of breaks the look. So, just be careful when you're working with it. Like when you're making stuff like the foxhole here, or the table, or like my obelisk over here is mounted on a foam hillside. Any of that kind of stuff, you really want to be careful when you're handling it, because it dents wicked easy. And guys, please, if you like the video, please comment on it or rate it or something so I know you're watching.